Guide dog Q's first owner was a stubborn middle-aged man who was afraid of dogs but wouldn't admit it. He had been walking alone for years until they finally decided to get a guide dog. However, he couldn't take Q home right away. They had to go through training together first. When Q stopped at an obstacle, the man kept walking forward anyway. He bumped into the obstacle and then blamed Q for it. After going through training for a while, they took their certification test together. When they reached a slope, Q stopped, but the man didn't. When the test was over, everyone else had passed and received the guide dog certification, everyone except that man. He sat alone off to the side, and Q sensed his disappointment. Q stood up, wagging his tail and licking the man's hand. The man felt comforted by this gesture, so he continued with his training and learned to follow Q's guidance. One day, he secretly took Q outside to buy beer from vending machines. There were 3 machines, and he didn't know which one sold beer. Just as he was about to put money in one, Q gave him a signal. The man followed Q's guidance and chose a different machine, and sure enough, he got his beer. Eventually, they graduated successfully, and Q's career as a guide dog officially began. The man brought Q home, initially refusing to have a trainer accompany them. He tried walking with Q on his own, but ended up in the middle of the street, causing a massive traffic jam. The trainer scolded him, explaining that beginners need supervision, otherwise both he and Q could get hurt. The man constantly bragged about Q to his co-workers. When another blind person tried to lead Q away, the man called out Q's name once and Q immediately ran back to him. One rainy day, the man's child wanted to shield Q from the rain, but the man criticized the child for it. He snapped at Q, and Q thought he had done something wrong, so he ran away from home. Later, the man found Q at someone else's house. He was a bit angry and walked home without looking back, though he was actually very worried. Only when he felt Q beside him again did he feel relieved. For 2 years, the man and Q moved forward together. Then one day, the man suddenly felt unwell and walked to the bathroom alone. Q sensed something was wrong and followed him. Later, when the man fell ill and was bedridden, Q stayed by his side constantly. One day, a trainer came to the hospital to take the guide dog back. When the man's son took Q away, he couldn't bear to tell his father what was happening, so he quietly led Q away. At that moment, it seemed like Q was saying goodbye to the man. It turned out the man had heard everything all along. The man was repeatedly hospitalized and no longer needed a guide dog. Q waited alone for 3 years. Then one day, Q heard a familiar sound and suddenly became excited. The man had come to visit. He took Q's leash and walked slowly with Q for a short distance. This was their final goodbye.
그자, 스톱이야. 뭐해? 그래.
Shortly after, the man passed away.